Hi, I'm Monica Hassel, and I'm an ADHD and executive function coach. So, I've been coaching since 2014, and this year, 2023, I decided I would create a group program for high school students because over the last few years, I realized there was a growing need to be able to support lots of high school kids, and a group program is ideal for this age group. So what's good about a high school program is that we can meet remotely once a week during most weeks of the term, and I can support your kids with their executive functioning where ADHD is in their high school experience. So it's a blend of sending out some pre-recorded information, which you have forever. So you have pre-recorded information, and there's one video that is there designed for adults and their students, children to watch together. That is quite a long video. That's about 40 minutes. But that has all the background information that you need to know about what is ADHD, what is executive function, what are the executive functions, and how do they incorporate in your day-to-day life. Because ADHD is not just a school-based difference. It impacts kids 24/7. And I firmly believe that if someone in the family has ADHD, then the whole family is impacted, the highs and the lows. So it's important for everyone to be on the same page about what is ADHD. Then the rest of the pre-recorded information is for the students, but parents are welcome to look at it. And each of those executive functions, I break down the particular executive function area, and I talk about that, how it impacts school. And once I've got through the executive functions, I also have some pre-recorded short clips that range from, the importance of sleep and the importance of, life outside of school and the importance of time management. So there's a whole bunch of information there that's there forever to have a look at. And then what I do is on a Monday evening, and I figure Monday evenings is a great way to start a week, get some planning happening, because no one's going to do it Friday the week before. So Monday evenings, 7 p.m. Queensland time. And if you are interstate, you do need to check your time zone details. So Southern States, Victoria, New South Wales, Canberra, the time in Tasmania, the time will probably be an 8 p.m. start. If you're in South Australia, it'll be a 7:30 p.m. start. So the groups run for 1 hour, and I just want to show you the structure of what we do. So I'm going to share my screen so you can understand a little bit about the program. So here we go. So in the first session, we have a little bit of introduction. I always want to start a session off with what's gone well, what's been wins for our students of the week. I want to check in with them if they've had any roadblocks. I always go through the role of executive functioning because that is what ADHD is really all about. I might have a topic of discussion. Earlier in the term, I have a little bit more information, and then as the term goes on, I know that students, the attendees, are wanting to get more work done. So in the session, so we have a topic for discussion. We might have a bit of group accountability, sharing, what have you planned, and some tips. Often kids of this age have some great tips that they like to share, what apps work for them, what apps don't work for them, how to block apps, all sorts of things. And I have in each session a time that I call laser focus. So that is time where everyone has their videos and audios off. I'm still there, and we have quiet time, and I ask to turn the distractions off, and that I will ask them to set an intention of something that they would like to be working on. And a lot of the kids often appreciate this time. They might have an assignment coming up, or they might have an exam the next day, or they might not have done their planning. So I have this thing called laser focus. So I always make sure that we have some ground rules, some safe group work guidelines that we go over. And planning is a huge part of ADHD. There are many, many, many people with ADHD that don't like planning. They're a bit afraid of planning. They feel threatened by planning. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to address this, have what I call a term planner here. And that looks like a whole lot of boxes there at the moment, but this is how I get all of my students to set up their term. This is a term planner. Each of these weeks represents a week of the term. Each of these days represents a day of the week. And here is where we might put their exam subjects, and there's a little key where people can decide, well, what week of the term it is and when an assessment's due. And as they block off every week, they can see what's ahead of them. I had one boy say, I know that I've got assessment piece due in week 7, but I don't know when week 7 is. So that's what this type of PDF is all about. We set it up earlier in the week. You're going to know what's week 1, when you're in week 2, what's happening Thursday, week 5, what's happening Monday, week 8. It's a really simple tool, and when kids use it, they really, really like it. I also encourage them to, print out a calendar, a 2023 calendar, for example, and they can print it bigger than A4 because, often assessment pieces go across terms. We want to know when their holidays are. So there's lots of good things that we can put on a calendar. And this is the executive functions I was talking about. And as you learn more about ADHD, if you connect with us, that we really have the emphasis on more than the core symptoms of attention deficit and hyperactivity. We're going to dig a little bit deeper and look at the executive functions, what's underlying those core symptoms. And these are the executive functions, and we go over them every session, make sure they understand what they are. I send everyone a little package, and this is part of what they receive. I said we have tips. A topic for discussion might be, do you know how we learn? And we talk about how learning happens. There's different models that, as I continue to learn, I share with my clients. This is like a cycle of learning and how we relearn information. How do we put habits in place? We might talk about habits as well. Some mindfulness, which isn't meditation, but just bringing your attention to the current moment, about sleeping habits, etc. Good screen habits, some little simple apps that can really help. I want people, we might have discussions about, well, what do we want to be doing differently this week? How can we make that happen? And we can't just have plans in our head. We need to engineer the environment. And I always say we need to write stuff down. We need to be able to hit the target, or see the target if we want to be able to hit it. So what target are you aiming for? It's much easier to hit a target if you can see it, is what I want to be saying. When people sign up, they go into our use our software called Coach Accountable. This doesn't cost you anything. We include this in our session, so there's no cost to you additionally for this. But what it is, it's weekly summaries of what they've been doing, and I encourage all of my clients to write this out after the session, figuring what they're going to be, what they've taken away from this session, a bit of reflection on that. What do I need to be focusing on over the next few days? And I always say, please share this with your parents or caregivers, because I want you to be part of that structure that your child has. This is not the time to be saying our children need to be able to do this for themselves. They probably can't. What we need to do is we want to be able to the instruction so they can do it themselves. So structure is really important, extra scaffolding. This is what the little screen I have when we're talking about laser focus. So this is a section of the session where everyone has their videos and audios off, and they're just laser focusing on something that they need to be working on. And that's probably the part of the sessions that the students enjoy the most. They really like having that quiet time where they can focus on something that they need to be doing on. I also talk about this internal pharmacy. This is a concept that I came up with a couple of years ago, and I've spoken about it at international and national ADHD conferences. Medications can be important. Not everyone is on medications. Not everyone elects to be on medications. Medications might not work in the evening anyway if you're on stimulant medication. So I also want people to be engaged with the agency they have over their own internal pharmacy, their own body and brain chemistry. These are the important things: nutrition, hydration, sleep, exercise, breath work, mindfulness, connection, self-reflection, and this lens of executive function. And I don't go over these every week, but this is something that I will talk about, that we have our own body and brain chemistry we have to look after as well. So this is how we wrap up a session. I'll say, we want to check in, what are they taking away? What can they activate to? Who can help us? Sometimes they might have a query about something and they're too afraid to ask. So we open up that conversation. And what would I like to focus on next week? So I want people to make these plans very clear and visible. And this is what the program is all about. There's some information that's in pre-recorded. I will have a little tiny bit of information week to week, particularly if I hear of new things that I want to talk about. But the focus of the session is to give them structure in the week, and some laser focus time as well. So near the end, we have a wrap up say what they're taking away and what they can share with you, which is really important. So feel free to sign up for the high school program. For people that it's their first time around, the fee is $350 for the term. For people that are joining back in, signing up for second and ongoing, there's a price reduction of $300. So because you don't need to pay for all the information that I send again. So it's a discount for ongoing sessions. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions at all. Take care. Bye.